All aboard for the transcribed premiere production, The Cruise of the Poll Parrot. It's time for another exciting yarn aboard a whaling ship in the year 1860, so reef in your sails and listen. In our last episode, the good ship Poll Parrot, with all our friends aboard, Johnny, Sue, Dickon, Captain Dalton, Ezra Grange, and old Poll Parrot himself, was overtaken by the wily privateer Captain Karsh, who, with several boatloads of men, boarded the whaling vessel to search for their diamonds. Karsh has heard about the diamonds from some sole survivor of the catastrophe on Gulto Island, who is now aboard his ship. But just who this is, he will not tell. Captain Dalton knows his crew is hopelessly outnumbered, so he does not fight. But he still will not give up the diamonds and threatens to fight to the last man if they are fired upon. At this point of deadlock, a lovely young girl comes aboard the ship from Karsh's vessel to see what is going on. She is Karsh's fiancée, and she is very angry to find that her betrothed is really a privateer. Karsh forces Captain Dalton to send Hollings, the Poll Parrot's latest recruit, with 10 men back to his own ship, the Africana, as hostage. But just then a terrific storm sweeps down on them, and the two ships are swept apart. Then a great wave smashes the Poll Parrot's rudder, and she is left to the mercy of the gale. Our story picks up just where we left off last time, and Karsh and Captain Dalton are still arguing.
All except the able seamen get below. The decks are almost awash. Mr. Grange, take Johnny and Sue and the young lady and get to my cabin. The rest of you...
I tell you, I've taken over here. I've as many of my men aboard this hulk as you, and I'm giving orders.
Avast, Karsh, this is no time to be arguing. We've got to forget how things are till we ride out this storm. Then we'll take up again where we were. As long as I'm master of this ship, and we're not yet taken captive, I'm giving the orders.
You are taken captive. I've taken you.
You forget the Africana's not standing by to fire at us with your cannons any longer. We're evenly matched now.
But there are just as many of my men aboard as yours and more.
Karsh, I'll give you 3 seconds to get out of my way and down to my cabin till this storm's out, or blow me down, I'll lay you low.
Why, you can't talk to me like that, you blubber-smeared whaler. Oh!
Vast, Karsh, you talk too much. Well, I warn you. Dickon, drag Karsh below and put him in the forecastle. Tie him up to keep him out of mischief.
Aye, sir. Look, old Karsh's men are advancing on you, they are. They don't like you knocking out their bloomin' skipper.
Aye, so they are. Men of the Poll Parrot, stand by your arms. Grab before they're washed overboard. And look here, you swabs from the Africana. We're evenly matched now. If you want to fight, my men will give you all you want. If you do get me, you'll have no skipper at all to run the ship. If you take your places and wait till the storm's over, we'll come to terms.
You better eat the skipper, you swabs. Lash me to a yardarm. This is a strange ship to you. You can't work her through the storm by yourselves. Now, if you join our men to do what we can till the worst of the blow is over, you have an even chance. If you try to take over yourself, the Poll Parrot, without anchor and rudder as she is, will be swamped in less than an hour.
Aye, we'll pitch in.
We'll stand by. Good, you show good sense. Now, Dickon, we've won the first round. By the time the storm is over, Karsh won't have any more to say aboard this vessel than a sea cow.
Aye, sir.
Take him below and stop in my cabin and see how the young'uns and Mr. Grange are doing.
Aye, sir. And I must say, Captain, you did a neat bit of work, sir.
The bloomin' gale's blowing the feathers off.
Well, hurry below, will you albatross? I've got work to do. Lay on there, men. Tie that lifeline to the mainmast.
Johnny, I'm so frightened. Don't be scared, Sue. This is just an ordinary storm. Any ship can run into a gale like this. Can't they, Mr. Grange?
Yes, Johnny. I don't believe it more serious than could be expected. Still, with our rudder gone, I fear...
Oh, but Mr. Grange, with Captain Dalton up there, we can come to no harm.
I'm about ready to agree with you, Johnny. That man can get out of any bad situation.
And besides, this storm was almost a good thing. It blew us away from the Africana, and maybe we'll still get the upper hand over Captain Karsh. I wonder what the old pirate's doing up on deck now.
Oh, Johnny, that pretty lady over there in the corner, she heard what you said.
Did you call Bruno Karsh a pirate?
Well, yes, ma'am, I did. Well, he is almost. He's a privateer, isn't he?
Oh, dear. I was so afraid of this. Tell me, what was he trying to do when I came aboard?
Why, he chased us for a day or more and finally caught up with us. Didn't you know he wanted our diamond?
Johnny is trying to tell you that your Captain Karsh was intending to rob us of a very valuable cargo we're carrying.
I didn't know. Oh, I'm so ashamed. And I believed him when he said he was a respectable merchant man. Oh.
Oh, please don't cry, miss. If you didn't know about it, it's not your fault.
Thank you, little girl, but you don't know what this means to me. What's your name?
My name's Sue Grange, and this is my big brother Ezra, who owns the Poll Parrot. And this is Johnny Robbins, the bravest cabin boy who ever lived.
Oh, gee, Sue.
I'm happy to know you. Well, you might as well know about me. I'm Annabelle Wilson of New Orleans. Bruno Karsh has been a suitor of mine for years, and, well, he was always so gallant and so brave, I thought, and he just sort of swept me off my feet. I once heard he'd been a privateer, but he swore to me that was long ago, against his will, that he'd reformed and was now captain and owner of a fine merchantman. I finally promised to wed him, and this was to be our wedding voyage. We were going to be married by an uncle who's a minister in Cape Town, South Africa. And I believed in him. And now... Oh, it's just too horrible.
But, gee, think how lucky you were to find out in time.
Oh, be quiet, Johnny. That's not the right thing to say.
Huh? But I just thought...
Oh, that's all right, Miss Annabelle. I'm sure everything will turn out all right.
It's Dickon. What's going on up on deck, Dickon? We can't tell a thing down here.
The storm doesn't feel like it's getting any better.
Oh, blow me down, it ain't, lad. I've been up and down the companionway a dozen times in the past few hours, and each time it seems worse.
Look, breakers ahead, breakers ahead.
Stow that, you big-nosed bird. It's the last thing we need to look for, breakers. We are far from any land, by the by. Blow me down. Captain Dalton knocked out that belligerent Karsh, and I stowed him safe and sound on irons in the old. Avast, ain't you happy to hear that?
Hold your tongue, Dickon. Don't you know this young woman was betrothed to Captain Karsh?
Oh, so help me, I forgot I did. Oh, I'm bloomin' sorry, but I'm just a blinkin' rough old sea salt what ain't got no sense about things like that.
Rock, he's a blinking stupid old sea salt. Rock,
Oh, that's all right, Dickon. You didn't know.
Avast, I got to be getting back on deck again. Captain Dalton ordered some canvas put on to hold us. Maybe on some kind of course with our rudder broke. Oh, but 'tain't no use, I'm thinking. You know, I'd better try to get out.
Last night, it feels like we're turning on our side.
Rush me to the beam ends. We're aground, and heaven only knows where out here in the ocean. But we're on the rocks.
rock, rock, man, the lifeboats. We're on the rocks. Rock, rock.
It's a miracle, that's all we can call it. The ship might have been stove in by those rocks and sunk with all hands and passengers lost. But the waves carried her clear over the rocks and left her on this rocky ledge at the back of the beach.
She's almost on her sides, and the timbers have been strained. There ain't a vessel afloat what could have took a beating like the good old Poll Parrot did and come out of it like this, bless her.
Poll Parrot's all right. Poll Parrot's all right. Rock, rock.
But, Captain Dalton, where are we? What is this island?
Blow me down, Mr. Grange, I don't rightly know as yet. We can't take our bearings because all my instruments were smashed when we were thrown aground. But if the clouds are cleared for fair and the stars come out tonight, I'll tell you as well as I can.
Oh, I think it's wonderful that we were saved.
I told you we'd come out all right with Captain Dalton in command. This doesn't look like a very small island. Still, you can't tell.
Hold there, everybody. Mr. Wainwright's brought Captain Karsh out of the brig in the ship, and he's bringing him over here to us on the beach.
Well, you see, blast you. If you'd let me take over, we wouldn't be on the rocks now.
Blow me down, Karsh. I'm afraid the sea must take all the credit for what happened. None of us had control over any of it. But I've got a word or so to say to you.
Well, get it over with.
Again, we're on even terms. Only this time, we ain't even got a ship to fight over.
Aye, Captain. It'll take quite a spell before we can make the Poll Parrot seaworthy again.
And so I say to you, Karsh, I'm turning all your men back to you. You're on your own.
I smells a rat. What's the bargain?
There's no bargain. You take your men and clear out of here. This looks like a fairly sizable island, and there's plenty timber on it. We all stand the same chance to survive. But you and your men get over to the other side and stay there. And don't cross our path or there'll be trouble.
What? And leave us marooned on the island when you get the ship refitted?
We'll talk that over when the time comes. And if either party sights a vessel that might give us assistance, the other group will be notified.
It ain't fair. I know you've got something up your sleeve. But for a temporary agreement, it may do.
It'll have to do. I'm giving you no choice. Now, clear out.
Mark this well, Dalton. There'll be a day soon when you'll regret the way you've spoken to me.
Why, you blasted blackguard. You're just getting your just desserts for your attempted piracy.
Grog, swing the bloomin' pirate from the yard arm, I'll slit that blinking parrot's throat yet. Well, Annabelle, are you coming with me?
Bruno, I can't.
You can't. What do you mean? You're my promised bride.
You've destroyed my faith in you. I'll have to wait till I come to a definite decision. Meanwhile, I can stay with little Sue Grange here in this camp.
Look here, Annabelle. You're my betrothed, and you were left under my care. If I say you're coming with me, you are. If I have to drag you...
Oh, Bruno, how dare you talk to me like that?
One more word out of you to this young woman, and I'll fell you like a spar in a hurricane. Now, hoist anchor and clear.
All right, Dalton. You have us. But you'll rue this day.
Oh, Captain Dalton, look at this, right here at your foot. It looks like an arrowhead.
Blow me down, let me see that. An arrowhead it is, lad. Likely an Indian one. But what would it be doing on this island? This can't be any part of the South American mainland for certain.
Man and boy, I've sailed 7 seas. I've never seen an arrowhead like that one, I ain't.
Let me take a look. Blistering barnacles. I have. There's a tribe of Indians in the Brazilian jungle that chip their arrowheads in that same shape.
If that's true, Captain Dalton, what would it be doing here? There's certainly been no sign of any inhabitants on this island so far.
Captain Dalton, that arrow, it whizzed right by you and stuck in the tree just behind you.
Well, blow me down.
Rah! Injuns! Bloomin' red Injuns! Rah! Rah!
What's this? How can there be Indians on this undetermined island? What's in store for our friends now? How long will they be forced to stay on this strange shore? And what of Annabelle Wilson's decision to stay with Dalton's crew? Will Karsh make trouble? Be sure to listen for the next transcribed adventure in the cruise of the Poll Parrot. Until then, this is your Poll Parrot announcer, Dave Ward, saying goodbye. All aboard for the transcribed premiere production, The Cruise of the Poll Parrot. It's time to continue that exciting story of the sea and whaling days aboard the good ship Poll Parrot on its return voyage after 2 years of adventure and treasure hunting away from its home port of New Bedford. When we last heard from our friends Johnny, Sue, Dickon, Captain Dalton, Ezra Grange, and Poll Parrot himself, they were beached on an unknown island somewhere in the South Atlantic when the good ship Poll Parrot was washed ashore during a terrific storm. The squall struck just as Captain Karsh, the skipper of a privateer vessel, and his crew overpowered the Poll Parrot's crew and were about to take charge in an effort to find the hidden diamonds our friends discovered on Galto Island quite some time ago. After the Poll Parrot was wrecked upon the beach, Captain Dalton told Karsh to take his men and stay on the other side of the island. Karsh demanded that his fiancée, Annabelle Wilson, accompany him, but having just found out the true character of Karsh, she refuses. At that moment, an arrow strikes in a tree, barely missing Captain Dalton, which leads them to believe there is a band of South American Indians on the island. Karsh has left for the other side of the island, and Captain Dalton and some of his men go in search of the person or persons responsible for the arrow almost hitting them. Dickon and Mr. Grange have stayed behind with Johnny, Sue, and Annabelle Wilson on the beach. And as we see them now, Grange is speaking with Miss Wilson.
I'm mighty sorry for you, Miss Wilson. It must be quite a shock to discover the man you care for and intended to marry turns out to be such a rascal as Karsh.
Don't feel sorry for me, Mr. Grange. I consider myself very fortunate to find out all about him. If I'd married him, it would have been too late.
Well, you're right there. But you're taking it mighty bravely.
Well, after seeing how brave you and your Captain Dalton and little Johnny and Sue here are, I realize there's no other way to be. I shall try to be just as brave. Only I hope we're rescued from this island before I begin to lose my nerve.
You don't have to be afraid, Miss Annabelle. You have us all to look after you.
And look after you we will. Karsh will not harm you while we're here, I can assure you.
It's not Bruno Karsh, I fear. It's the natives on this island, whoever they may be.
Well, don't worry about them. Captain Dalton and his men will see to them. Unless
what, Sue?
Unless there are too many natives on this island.
I don't believe that possible. We must be miles away from any great number of people.
Oh, I hope Captain Dalton and his men return soon. They've been gone for hours.
Oh, they'll be... Oh, there they are now. You see? Way down the beach there.
Oh, I see them. Oh, Ezra.
What's the matter?
Captain Dalton is not with them.
No, he isn't. But I suppose he's lagging behind for some reason or other. He'll be along soon.
Mr. Grange, I feel as if something happened to Captain Dalton.
Nonsense. We'll soon find out. Mr. Wainwright and his men are running this way.
Mr. Grange! Mr. Grange!
What's up, man? You're white as a sheet. You look like you've seen a ghost.
Aye, worse than that, sir.
Something has happened to Captain Dalton.
Aye, miss, blow me down. Something has happened.
Out with it, man. What is it?
If I only knew, sir, but I don't. There's something on this island that ain't human, it ain't.
Oh, Mr. Grange, I knew it. I knew it.
Rubbish. What are you talking about, Mr. Wainwright?
Oh, help me, Mr. Grange. I'm not one to let my imagination run away with me. I've sailed the 7 seas 12 times and more. I've seen the fakers of India perform their tricks of Hindu magic. I've seen witch doctors of the South Sea Islands cast their bloomin' spells, I have, and it ain't phased me in the least, sir, it hasn't. But fell me a deck with a belaying pin when a man, leastways your own captain, disappears before your own eyes. Well, lash me to a yardarm, sir. It's too much.
Mr. Wainwright, the excitement of the past few days is evidently having its effect on you. Now stop this chattering and tell us what happened. And none of this foolishness about someone disappearing in thin air. There's no sense to it.
I know, sir, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't. But it's true, and I tell you, sir, there's something uncanny about it all.
Wainwright, if something has happened to Captain Dalton, we've just got to find him. But you must pull yourself together and tell us just what did happen.
Well, sir, when we left here, we started out in the direction from where that bloomin' arrow came when it stuck in the tree there. We beat our way along a small path that led us directly into the jungle that most likely covers the entire center part of this here island. We searched carefully as well as we could, sir, but not a sight of anything or anyone could we see.
Where was Captain Dalton all this time?
The captain was a short distance ahead of us. When the men and me haul sails and stop short, as we hear a sound what sounds like groaning in the underbrush. We rushed into the underbrush to see where the sound was coming from, we did, and...
Aye, and we soon found out what it was, sir. Just an old owl that stood blinking at us.
That's right, Mr. Grange. And when we returned to the path, Captain Dalton was gone, sir.
But he may have gone ahead.
No, sir, he didn't. We called to him, but he didn't answer. He wouldn't have had time to get very far, so we called again. No answer again. We searched and searched, and no trace of him could we find. Not even a footprint. His footprints just seemed to stop, like I'm telling you. Captain Dalton just disappeared into thin air.
Aye, it's the truth, Mr. Wainwright saying. Something got the captain, and whatever it wasn't human.
Oh, I knew something happened to Captain Dalton. I knew it.
Lash me to a yardarm, sir. I'd rather have gone down with the good old Poll Parrot than try to hook up with something you can't see. Blimey if I wouldn't.
Mr. Grange, I'm frightened.
Look here now. We must keep our wits about this thing. We've got to find Captain Dalton, so I'm taking charge. Wainwright?
Aye, sir.
Round up what's left of our crew and old Dickon. He's down looking over the Poll Parrot to see what has to be done to put her in repairs. We'll search for Captain Dalton, but we won't take any chances. So we'll all stay together until we find him.
Aye, aye, sir.
At that, it may have been better to allow Karsh and his men to stay with us. We'd have more men then, and we'd stand a better chance.
I'm sure we can make out without them, Mr. Grange.
I hope so. Yet I can't help but think that if we had let them stay...
Johnny, do you suppose Bruno Karsh and his men had anything to do with Captain Dalton's disappearing?
I don't think so. They went in the opposite direction to the path Captain Dalton took through the jungle. Still, I'm not so sure.
I wouldn't put it past him. You know how he hates Captain Dalton, especially for knocking him down like the captain did aboard the Poll Parrot. Why, I'll bet right now, if he isn't the one who captured Captain Dalton, he's most likely plotting to do something so he can get Miss Annabelle back and those diamonds.
Last is I'd, Briney. I'll settle matters with that Captain Dalton if it takes me to my dying days.
He's a smooth un, he is. But so help me, he laid you low for fair, he did.
Hold your lip, you bloomin' hook arm, or you'll know what's good for you.
You ain't scaring me none, you bloomin' barnacle.
Now listen here, Briney. I'm still your captain, and you'll not talk to me like this.
Captain of what? Cast away like we be here on this island without a ship, and you still wants to be captain. Blimey, that's good it is.
Rat you swab. I'd tear you apart, I would, with my bare hands, but for one thing.
Aye. And you know what that one thing is.
Briney, keep that hook hand of yours away from me. Keep it away.
I wouldn't use it on ye, me pet. It's just to remind ye we be on even keel now, we be. Besides, I'm a-willing to work with ye. But remember, on even keel.
All right, Briney. I need you. You're my first mate, you are. A captain's got to have a first mate.
I was your first mate. I'm skipper now, same as you. Remember, even keel, says I.
All right. Now listen. There are two things Dalton's got what we want.
Aye. Your betrothed Annabelle and a swag of diamonds.
You're right. Annabelle and those diamonds. Somehow we'll get 'em both. I'll have my Annabelle back, and we'll split the diamonds.
You'll have your Annabelle, and I'll take the diamonds.
Why, blast you!
Even keel. Remember, even keel.
Oh, it seems like we've been walking for hours through this jungle, and still no sight of Captain Dalton.
It seems like hours, Sue, but it hasn't been very long.
Wainwright, how far are we from where Captain Dalton disappeared?
Not far, sir. We're almost there now.
If we don't find Captain Dalton, at least I hope we come to some kind of a clearing so we can pitch camp.
From the looks of it, sir, I don't think there's a clearing for miles.
Clearing ahead, clearing ahead.
Oh, you're as blind as a bat, you are.
Mr. Grange, here's the spot.
Wait there, Mr. Wainwright. We'll be right with you.
Just as I told you, sir. Here is where Captain Dalton's footprints stop.
Blow me down, sir. They don't go anywhere.
That does seem to be right. But why? How?
So help me, it's past all right thinking it is.
Johnny, how could that be? How could anyone's footprints come to a stop like that and then go nowhere at all?
I'm thinking of that myself, Sue. Now, how could that happen? Wait a minute.
What, Johnny?
What's wrong, lad?
Nothing's wrong. I think I've got the right answer.
Johnny, what are you getting at?
Mr. Grange, Captain Dalton's footprints stop here, don't they?
That's right. Mr. Wainwright says these are Captain Dalton's tracks.
And if the tracks don't go ahead, and you see they haven't gone to either side, and then if he had retraced his steps, you could see the shoe prints going in the opposite direction, couldn't you?
That's right. But what are you getting at, lad?
There's only one other way he could go.
Where, Johnny?
Up. Straight up.
Johnny, lad, you've hit it. You've hit it.
Someone in that tree up there could have dropped a rope around Captain Dalton and pulled him up from the ground.
Yes, and the way those vines hang from the trees, they could have swung from tree to tree without ever coming back down to the ground.
That looks like the plausible answer, all right.
Mutiny! Mutiny!
Where did that arrow come from?
From above in that tree.
Oh, look!
Good Lord. Savages!
What a spot for Johnny and Sue and all our friends to be in. Right in the middle of a jungle island, savages all around them threatening. And not to forget Captain Karsh and Briny plotting against them. And where is Captain Dalton? Is he alive? Is he held captive? What are Johnny, Sue, Mr. Grange, Dickon, and the rest going to do to get out of this tight spot? Well, they've been in many tight spots before, and they always manage to get out of them. But then they had Captain Dalton with them before. Now they don't even know where he is. Something's bound to happen soon, so don't fail to be with us when we continue with another transcribed episode on the cruise of the Poll Parrot. Until then, this is your Poll Parrot announcer, Dave Ward, saying